Franco out of F1? Is Checo safe? All this and more on the Traffic Report. Hello and welcome to the Traffic Report on Traffic Paradise Radio, your weekly F1 news roundup. I'm Immy, and joining me today is Kira.
Hi!
Hi Kira, did you remember to subscribe so you don't miss out on the news?
Of course, everyone make sure you subscribe to Traffic Paradise Radio on YouTube.
Woo! Our first story this week. Could Checo Perez be out of a seat before the end of the season? Christian Horner isn't certain of his future. He was quoted as saying, "It's a performance-based business. There comes a point in time that difficult decisions have to be made. Since all drivers at Red Bull and VCARB are contracted to the same organisation, they can be swapped with little consequence. But is this too little too late?" Kira, do you think Checo will be switched out?
Honestly, I would be surprised if he is before the end of the season. He seems like a well-respected driver by the staff at Red Bull, despite his performance. They seem like they like him a lot more than the younger drivers and the drivers currently in VCARB. I don't think that he'll be kicked out early, although I could be very wrong, and if he is, I don't know who they're going to pick. Obviously, they've got quite a few options. Honestly, my personal opinion is that he will stay to the end of the season, but that he will not be there next season.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. I think it's quite bizarre that Christian's not just shooting these rumours down, because it seems just really a bit of a logistical nightmare to go, "Oh, we've got 4 races, let's pick someone," especially when they've spent this time going, Yuki and Liam have 6 races to duke it out for the seat, and all of a sudden, "Oh, no, put one of you in for Brazil." That's not going to happen. If it did, I just feel like realistically they'd have to choose Yuki just for 4 races based on experience. I know it's not experience based, it's speed, whatever, but one of them has not even had a full season in the car, sporadic races, is just back in F1, and the other has been there consistently. So if it's for 4 and you want a steady hand, and I mean, I don't think a lot of people would call Yuki a steady hand, but Liam's not making a great name for himself. So.
We have to think about the fact that Yuki's DNF record this season. I do not believe that any of his DNFs this season have actually been his fault. He's
Yeah,
had crashes in qualifying, but he's actually only had, I believe it's either 4 or 5 DNFs this season. And those have pretty much all been the fault of other drivers. Sure, his crashes in qualifying were expensive, and yes, they were his fault, but you expect there to be more likelihood of crashing when you're going flying laps in qualifying compared to the turn 1 instance that he's constantly getting himself into in the race. Yes, I do believe that Yuki would be the best choice if they were to do this, but we have to remember that Checo literally posted a tweet saying he's not leaving. So that's something you've got to consider.
Yuki has had 4 DNFs this year. China, he was spun out by, I want to say, K-Mag. In Italy, he was hit by Nico. In Azerbaijan, it was Lance. And in Mexico, it was a racing incident, really. Pierre squeezed Alex and Yuki, but turn 1, lap 1 in it. None of them were outright his fault. None of them. Literally, he is suffering with such bad luck.
Yuki just has awful luck in that he's always starting near people who tend to get involved in early incidents.
Yeah, that's just the midfield, isn't it?
I'm not going to name any names, but you're looking at certain midfield teams.
Realistically, Checo won't be gone. I don't know what Christian's trying to do here. Play it up to the media for whatever reason. But just with 4 races, why? I mean, unless you wanted to give one of Yuki or Liam a shot in the Red Bull just for fun, because you aren't going to salvage the constructors by putting somebody new in that car. Like, they've got to get to grips with it and consistently score for 4 races and outscore Ferrari and McLaren with 2 very, very good drivers who have been in that car for seasons. No, it won't happen.
And we've known for ages that Christian Horner enjoys playing up to the media with all of the Checo drama. It seems he just likes to use Checo as a means to get in the news. and I don't think anything will come of it.
Although a new rumour pops up every week about where the young Argentine may be racing, Franco Colapinto believes he doesn't have a seat for next year. The latest rumour is that Williams were talking to VCARB about their possible open seat, but Franco struck that down, saying, "I don't know where it came from." He is setting his sights on racing in another series and being Williams' reserve driver before trying to make a return in 2026. What series do you think he'll race in?
It's a very good question. I personally can't see Franco anywhere outside of F1. I think he brings so much to the racing series just in terms of both his ability and his personality. I mean, have you seen the videos of him ignoring Martin Brundle? That was iconic.
Icon.
Genuinely, I think if he had to go somewhere, my initial thought was Formula E, but I know most of the seats have already been taken, and I feel like Formula E is a little bit of a point of no return for a lot of Formula One drivers.
Yeah, once you go there, you don't come back.
Yeah. So I feel like he'd do better just staying in F1 and being Williams' reserve driver and not having another series. But personally, I do have a feeling that he'll get a seat. One way or another. I know there aren't many seats left, but I know that so many people on the grid, inside and outside of Williams, know how good he is and know what he can bring to the table. So I feel like he'll definitely be considered for multiple seats.
If I were just to answer this question and say a series, I'd say Super Formula because that's what Liam went and did after Formula 2. That's my only basis for that thought. So it's not very developed.
It's still a good suggestion, though. I mean, Super Formula has a lot of opportunity for young drivers such as Franco. Obviously Liam did it. He did pretty well. Franco could do the same and then come back once the seat opens up for him. Although the thing is, with the regulation changes, when will the seat be available? Nobody knows, and it depends what he wants to place his bets on.
See, yeah, I mean, the open seats we have right now, I'd like to think he'd get one. But he doesn't seem to think so, but I don't know, he could be lying. Who knows? Sauber, I don't. The latest word is I don't think it's going Gabriel Bortoletto's way because I think Audi wanted. I don't know where I heard this, so I feel like I might be making this up because this does not seem like something Audi would want, a 4-year deal, and McLaren only wanted 2, and so they're not doing it anymore. I read that somewhere. It
Yeah,
might be a
I
lie.
also heard
You
that
did read it
McLaren
as
vetoed
well.
it.
You did. Good. That's good. So I might not be making that up. So that's less candidates for the Sauber seat. But last I heard, talks between Williams and Sauber also weren't going great. But they're, I think, going to announce their seat in the middle of November. So maybe by Las Vegas we'll know.
Interesting.
It might be him. It would probably be a sad place to be, though. I can't lie, for whoever's going there.
Yeah, not gonna lie, I feel so bad for Hulkenberg. I feel worse and worse about it every day.
God, I know. To be leaving House, now they're just getting back on their feet.
Literally, it's such an unfortunate situation. I think that's always been the case for Hulkenberg though. He was at Renault, he leaves Renault. Renault obviously turned into Alpine, then again didn't go very good. Then Hulkenberg goes to Haas, and now that he's leaving Haas are like actually finally decent. To be fair, getting his possible P10 in the Drivers' Championship is going to be quite nice for him.
Yeah, it will be. Anyway, who knows where Franco will go? But I hope we keep seeing him, even if it is just in the Williams garage.
He'll be there one way or another.
He'll be there, yeah. Maybe they can do what they did with Liam and Daniel this year.
Oh gosh, every time Alex Albon makes a mistake, it'll just
Yes.
pan to Franco. You just know
Oh
it.
dear. After years of being overlooked in the Red Bull Junior, or as they like to call it, sister team, Yuki Tsunoda will finally test a Red Bull. He will run in the RB20 during the end of season Abu Dhabi tyre test. Christian Horner said that the run had been agreed upon for some time and that he is looking forward to seeing how Tsunoda would get on. So are the tides finally turning in Yuki's favour for the Red Bull racing seat?
It seems to me that Yuki is almost more in contention now than he was a month ago.
Yeah, I agree.
Despite Liam actually finally getting the V-carb seat. It's a very odd situation. I think now that obviously Daniel Ricciardo to Red Bull has been completely thrown out the window, perhaps Yuki's able to get his name in there a bit more. And you've seen, like, Helmut Marko obviously doesn't think that badly of Yuki anymore. And honestly, it's hard to tell, with their very similar performance currently, who's gonna come out on top. I think genuinely it will depend on contract negotiations in the end. And obviously Yuki's ties to Honda might help him, but at the same
Or
time,
might not help him.
yeah. It's like Honda at this point is Yuki's Achilles heel.
Yeah, double-edged sword, kinda, because I'm pretty
Literally.
sure they helped him get this test in a
Yeah.
way. I don't like to say stuff that makes people go, "Oh, he's a Honda merchant," because is it a bad thing to be supported by Honda? I don't think so. Be a Honda merchant.
My view on the Honda situation is that, sure, yeah, Yuki has benefited off of Honda, but that's only in terms of him being able to be noticed. Regardless of the fact that Honda are there, Yuki wouldn't have been picked to drive for VCarb, or AlphaTauri as it was when he joined, if he wasn't good enough.
Exactly.
Either way, he's been good enough to maintain this seat for 4 years now. And yes, it'd be nice if he can get upgraded to Red Bull, but is Red Bull even much of an upgrade at this point?
Oh my god. I mean, I think something before getting back in an F1 car Liam had on Yuki was that sort of that brush everybody likes to paint Yuki with, that he's so hot-headed, he's so angry all the time, he's brash. And then Liam, in his, what is it? We're second race back now, right? His first one was good. He didn't really, he annoyed Fernando, but that was passable, right? It was just a little racing moment. It was fine. But we get to now, and what did he do in this race? He raced Checo aggressively and punctured his side pod and his floor, and then flipped him off, and then ignored blue flags for both Ferrari drivers. In the space of 2 races, he's annoyed 4 drivers.
Yeah, Liam hasn't. Liam, and not to mention, he also had that run in with Franco in the race, which led to
Did
actually.
he? Oh, yeah, he
Yeah,
did.
Franco got a time penalty.
That was kind of not. I don't know if I'd call that Liam's fault.
No, but it was technically a race. I thought, in my personal opinion, it was a racing incident, but Franco was given a penalty for that. Yeah, so honestly, I don't think Liam's had the best first impression since being back in the
Yeah,
F1 car.
exactly.
I feel like that'll definitely play to his disadvantage.
It's just especially against, like, as much as we like to say the sister teams have no effect on each other, racing that hard against Checo in his home race and then flipping him off. Like, you are related to each other.
There were photos of him being reprimanded by Horner for that,
Yes!
which honestly was quite
Oh.
funny.
Oh, like a kid going to detention. It's just
Quite literally.
when you have this one up on Yuki of everybody who doesn't watch F1 intently and tunes in for like the races, right? Who's not on here like we are fully submersed in it 24/7 because we have no lives apart from Formula One. That's just me, I'm projecting. But right, most normal people who tune in for the race, if we get back to my point I was trying to make, look at Yuki and think, oh, he's hot headed. Right, he shouts a lot. That's most people's impression of him, no matter what he does. Because of his start, that's how they'll always view him, no matter how much he's changed. Liam had that chip and he's lost it.
Every driver is assigned a personality quite early
Yeah.
on by the fan base. Yuki's has always been the angry short guy. That's always how it's been. He's just a little guy who's very angry, very hot headed. I wouldn't personally say that Yuki is any more angry than Max.
No, he's not. Max is probably angrier right now.
Yeah, and sure, Max also has a bit of a reputation for being angry, but it's nothing to the extent of Yuki. When I got back into Formula One in 2022, after taking my couple of years of not really watching it much, I was introduced to Yuki as the angry short guy. And if that doesn't speak volumes, then I don't know what does. But I think it's really interesting to see that Liam was really bigged up before he came back. Really sort of portrayed as like Red Bull's hero in their time of need with Daniel Ricciardo being kicked out. And now suddenly, is he actually that much better? Is he actually better at all? We don't know yet. It's only been 2 races, but have they perhaps bigged him up too much?
Yeah, a little. Well, we'll have to wait and see with that for sure. But I definitely don't think that Checo's seat is safe for 25, so we could see some movement, and maybe it'll be Yuki. Who knows? It was thought that Honda was the one that got Yuki that test, but many people think it was actually Lucas at Tsunoda22 on Twitter who tweeted at Red Bull Racing for 9 months asking them for a test.
Yep, 268 days.
Ooh, bringing up the statistics. Thank you, Kira. So, yay to Lucas.
Day 268 of asking Red Bull Racing to let Yuki test one of their cars. And suddenly they did. Thank you, Lucas. Thank you, Lucas. You saved us all. Wow.
Thank you, Lucas. We love you so much. Thank you from all of Yuki Nation. You're a treasure and a star.
In the Mexico Grand Prix press conference, Charles Leclerc swore when describing his incident late in the race. He promptly apologized afterwards, but the damage was done. He was spoken to by an FIA official after the conference, and there has been no word on the outcome yet. The FIA do seem to be taking his apologies into account, so it might only be a warning. And my last question of this lovely episode, when will the FIA stop being annoying?
Never.
God.
Never.
Yes.
Obviously. Like, what is that's not even the question.
Like, to me, no child is tuning into the post-race press conference.
No child is watching it who has never heard the fucking F word before.
At the end of the day, parenting's down to discretion. If your parent has the press conference on, it's Formula One.
Exactly.
Who cares if they cuss? Oh no.
Also, though, I think the difference is here. I don't think Charles Leclerc will get punished for it personally.
I don't think so, no.
I think they would have acted by now if they were going to punish him, and also because he actually apologized, which Max didn't.
I stand by him though for this because it's just so
No,
stupid.
we stand with our cancelled wife, Max Verstappen.
Yes.
But no, I seriously think that if Max had apologized, they might have not given him like that fucking community service thing, which is stupid. But yeah, I think Charles will probably be fine.
It's just so unnecessary out of everything. Anyway, on that note, thank you for joining us. That's all the news we have for you this week. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe as we will have news for you every Wednesday. Thank you for watching and have a good rest of your day or night. Bye!
Bye!
In the Mexico Grand Prix press conference, Charles Leclerc. I always get so picky about how I pronounce his last name, and it literally doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter.
He calls
Nobody
himself
cares.
looking Charles Leclerc.
Yeah, I don't know why he ever does that to himself. It's
No.
like shooting yourself in the head really
That's
violently.
like worse than having the French anthem played when you won the fucking race, bro.
I don't think he did really that. Okay.